Well, thank you very much, Ani. Namaskar to all of you. The principal of the Said Bhagat Singh College, Professor A.K. Atri. So I'm really impressed by the university ambience. It's better than many of the full-fledged universities. And I'm sure the the college is doing very well precisely because I see there's some kind of a life in the college which you which really strikes you immediately as soon as you enter into the college premises. So thank you very much. Keep it up. This is the way forward for any national development project. I also would like to recall my very old friendship, 45 years old friendship with Professor S.K. Jain. We started, he was in political science, I was in economics, and we started our career together from room number 006 in Gonga Hostel in JNU. That's a girls' hostel now, of course, but those days it used to be a boys' hostel. And I remember I have very fond memories of Professor Jain. Since then, we have already always shared our ups and downs in life, family lives, all kinds of situations we have worked together. So I really thank you, Professor Jain, for your kindness and for inviting me to this very interesting function. More than that, you will now be from 1st August 2025, you will be starting your real career, right? So far, your career was of a particular nature, and I'm sure you would be starting a new career, and that will be the real career for you. I would also like to recognize the presence of my very dear friend Sabyasachi Datta, the chair of the Asian Conference, are very unique organizations that has brought so much of lives and so much of opportunities and started changing the entire narrative of the Northeast in the country and outside the country. I would also like to recognize the presence of the former DGP, Director General of Police of Pondicherry, Sri Manoj Lal Jiu. My very old friend, Professor Sanjay Pandey, is with us. So I would like to recognize his presence also. And thank you very much, all of you, your presence, the faculty colleagues here, students, the staff members here, and of course, Dr. Krishna Das and Dr. Kalyani for your generous hosting of this conference. I'm going to speak about what really happened in the Northeast in a very general term, and what is happening today, and what is likely to happen in very near future. You know, Northeast is a very unique geography, as the principal sir was telling us. We contribute only 4% of India's GDP, and we constitute only 8% of the total geography of India. But it is so unique, right? So diverse and so vibrant that I don't find such kind of geography, such kind of features in rest of India. It's a very, very interesting place. So Northeast is not a homogeneous whole. Northeast is a kind of a diverse geography with so many communities working together, right? With so many geographies, with so many cultures, with so many languages, so many dialects, right? And more than that, with so many different activities. The best part of Northeast is we constitute 98% of Northeast's borders are with the neighboring countries, and only 2% which is with the rest of India. That means its interactions historically, right, is always with the neighboring countries. So you please keep that in mind. It is a biodiversity hotspot. You and recognized by the UN. So you can go to Northeast only to see what is a biodiversity. The food part, the plants part, the animals part, the medicines part. You just go. You just go. The nature part is fascinating, right? You have Kanchenjunga on the top, third highest mountain in the world. Then you can go down and dive into the seas. You can see beautiful borders, beautiful mountains. Absolutely a brilliant ecology, cultural ecology. The borders. 35% of India's land borders are in the northeast. So, and it is connected by Chicken Neck in Darjeeling district, small Chicken Neck, right? That connects the entire northeast. You have seen that. So, what is the biggest question today is, are these 98% of their borderlands, are these a threat, or is this an opportunity? As a student of borderland, many of us have been saying that in India, borders need not be seen as a totally orthodox fiction, as a kind of a geometric line. Because the moment you see border as a geometric line, nothing happens there. Only the security forces from that side and security forces from this side would come together. And you promote an orthodox variety of military activities. Eyeball to eyeball contact will be there between India's border security force and Bangladesh's army, right? Whereas if you talk about borderlands away from this geometric line, then you immediately say, hey, there is tourism, there is pilgrimage, there is natural resources, there is education, there is health, there is trade, there is smuggling, there is cross-border environmental injuries. Look at this. So the only difference is border as a geometric line and borderland as a kind of space. And Northeast is famous for borderland. Somehow we converted into a geometric line and we lost quite a few things. And we would now like to say border as an opportunity and Northeast as a kind of a border. For example, we export almost $437 billion of goods and services to the global world. And our total trade would be about $820 billion. And here is a geography which has got nothing but borders. You can trade with China, you can trade with Myanmar, you can trade with Bangladesh, you can trade with Nepal, you can trade with Bhutan. And if you go a little beyond, you can trade with Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore. Go towards east, to Korea and to what you call it, Japan. But how much we contribute, in the total trade, in the total exports of India, Northeast's contribution would be not even 1%. Why does it happen? It's a big question, right? In the same borders, if you go to Myanmar and China border, and if you stand there in a place known as Muse and Rili, the border trade between China and Myanmar would be $4 billion. If you go to Myaodi with Thailand and Myanmar, if you stand there and see, The border trade is almost $4 billion again. Whereas we, India, right, till the 1935 Government of India Act, right, Myanmar used to be a kind of a regime, a kind of a geography that was directly looked after by the British India government. And we had such close cultural, economic, social, geographical, historical context and connections with Myanmar. You know how much is our trade? Our total trade, not border trade, is $2 billion. Why does it happen? The Chinese are doing the border trade of $4 billion. The Thais are doing this, and we have four solid states: Mizoram, Manipur, Nagaland, and Arunachal Pradesh. They can thrive, they can do. That's why we are changing the entire concept of making borders as frontier economic zones. In south of India, you talk about special economic zone or export related zones, but we now call it a frontier economic zones. This is what we have told Government of India, that we should move towards this. It's a very unique geography because this is the only geography in the country which has a special constitutional, financial, institutional, and other arrangements. Northeast is the only geography which has its Ministry of Development of Northeast region. Northeast is the only region where you have counterpart of erstwhile Planning Commission known as the Northeastern Council. Constitutional provisions, look at this. Every state has a special constitutional provisions. As Professor Jain was telling about 371. Just go to 371 of the Constitution. Then you will see, oh, 371A is this, B is this, C is this, right? Yeah, the institutional provision is absolutely different. Nowhere in India, there is nothing like South India electricity generation corporation. There's nothing like North India handloom sectors, but Northeast, yes, you name anything. Northeast electricity, Northeast handloom, Northeast, textiles, Northeast, all kinds of food, right? It's a very, very unique arrangement. And you have a financial arrangement, unique. That is, Northeast is the only geography of India where Government of India says 10% of the budgets of all the ministries and departments of India should be invested, should be spent in the Northeast. Can you imagine? 10% of Ministry of Defense, 10% of Ministry of Industry, So I was calculating in 24, Government of India had to set aside 1.3 lakh crore for Northeast. Can you imagine? There's so much of money. And this is on top of your general budget, your general development finance given by the Finance Commission, given by Niti Aayog, given by different ministries. So these are huge, and these are non-lapsable pools. That means what? That means on the 31st of March, it does not lapse. So you can put them in a sack and keep them there. It's something like that. It never lapses. There is very interesting things like income tax exemptions. There's no income tax in Sikkim. There are no income tax in several other states. So you have a deep pocket. Where will you keep the money? Right? So you have no income tax. And my salary, I tend to cry every month because 30% is deducted. Straight away, whether you want or not, my TDS is deducted. And I get very little amount to take home, right? Because My salary slip shows, oh, he's a senior professor, so he gets this much of money. But nobody knows that a senior professor also contributes so much to the exchequer of India, right? Now, Northeast, no tax. You have special provisions. Whoever invests in the Northeast, you will get tax exemptions, you will get special subsidies on transport, you will get, if you import some technologies or machines, you don't need to pay import duties for that. So many under NEIIPP, NEIDS, now it is known as Unnati 2024 by the Prime Minister. Now, given all these, the other important thing is you do your ruling, your regimes you can run. You have the concept of sixth schedule in the Constitution of India. I've been in the sixth schedule commission of the Government of India. And you check the six schedules are working. Oh, there is a state within the state, right? Autonomous councils are there in Assam, in Mizoram, in Nagaland, in for Meghalaya, the state is also run by the autonomous councils because it is under the sixth schedule, and the state is also run by the elected government led by the chief minister. Nowhere you will find this situation. It's absolutely unique situations. Therefore, what would happen then is, why, despite all these things, Northeast, which used to be one of the fastest growing geographies in India before 1947, has lagged behind? Why? That's a big question. Everybody asks, because everybody thinks Northeast, oh, that's pretty far. Northeast, it is underdeveloped. Northeast, for me, Government of India has appointed a large number of committees. You have the Shukla Committee, Jain Committee, you have the Thorat Committee. In many of these committees, I have been there. The Northeast Council Revamping Committee, right? And all the committees point out 4 factors why Northeast lagged behind. One of the major factors Northeast lagged behind is we started treating Northeast as a national security geography, right? So every project which has to go to the Northeast had to go through national security agencies, Home Ministry, Defense Ministry, right? And you know how it works. And so that led to so many disconnects. The second very important issue in the Northeast, why we lag behind, was the institutions. Institutional development did not happen. You have a Calcutta University, you have a Banaras Hindu University, you have Jawaharlal Delhi University. In Sikkim, the first university was set up in 2007. The first central university in the Northeast started happening only in the 1980s and 1990s. So no ITIs, no IITs and IIMs. The only one, and in the main India, rest of India, you have several institutions, whereas in the Northeast, not many institutions, right? And it is the institution that actually triggers development. It is not individuals. So we lag behind. So this is known as institutional laggard syndrome. The third, of course, is the impressions, what you call the narrative about the Northeast in rest of India. It is a no-go place. Don't go there. Because it is a place of insurgency. Because this is a place of instability and this is a place of violence. And that paradigm of national impressions, or what you call it, narrative, really constrained or remained, it constricted the entire development orientations of the people. Today also, you can see that. So what we are saying is, that means what? That means everybody thought that it is a no-go land. And the fourth is, whatever you put there, in economics we call it multiplier effect. That means whatever gains you have out of development, the gains will flow out of the Northeast, right? That means the cream of development would go out of Northeast. It is never invested back in the Northeast. That means what? That means a huge quantum of capital flights happened in the Northeast for 40, 50, 60 years. So in the name of Northeast, other provinces of India developed, because the agents of these capital flight were located somewhere in Delhi, somewhere in Haryana, or somewhere in South India, right? So the entire development in the North, in the name of the Northeast, actually happened in these geographies, because these were supposed to be much safer land. So today, what we are saying is, we are now talking about, we should change two things about the Northeast. One, of course, is you change the entire thinking about the Northeast. And to change that, I, as a student of international relations, keep telling my students, my colleagues, to change that, you have to do two things. One, you have a Northeast map. This is Northeast, connected by a chicken neck, and this is India, rest of India. Since you declared rest of India as the mainland India, as the mainstream India, we were told that you should follow mainstream India and mainland India. But nobody realized the fact that chicken's head is Northeast and chicken's body is the mainland India. And somebody told us that, hey, in the case of Northeast India, the body would drive the head. This is why the condition is like this. We want the head to drive the body. So we call it now reverse integration. Do you get it? Reverse integration means that will be our mainland India in the Northeast, and rest of India should follow what Northeast does. And this psyche has been gradually inducted in the last, I would say, 15, 20 years, particularly by the present Prime Minister Modi. He has, I was counting, he has visited Northeast in the last 10 years, 11 years, almost 75 times, right? And has brought so much of warmth and so much of vibrancy in the Northeast. And now he says, the first border village, the last border village will now be the first border village. He says that, right? That means what? That means in Arunachal Pradesh, in Tawang, the last border village, which you used to call last, will be the first village of India. Then you start integrating back and change this. The second thing which we are saying is change the development model. The development model so far was, you go invest, government of India would invest so much, but the profit is taken away. Where it goes, nobody knows. The cream of development. In milk, you have only two things. I worked with, for 2 years, I very closely worked with the father of White Revolution, Varghese Kurian, in NDDB in Anand. As a young university graduate, we are little revolutionary in thinking. So we many of us went and joined him. Sir, we would like to work with you. And that is where we learned what is milk revolution in India. And we found that in milk, you have only two things. One is the fat. The entire milk price is based on fat. And the another is solid non-fat, where you make milk powder and all kinds of things, right? SMPs, skimmed milk powder and all. So if you take away the fat, the real value of milk, you are left with only SMP, skimmed milk powder. And Northeast exactly suffered from that syndrome. You take the cream of development, right? And you are left with skimmed milk powder. How many years you will run your economy and society with skimmed milk powder and not with fat, ghee, butter, cheese, right? This is what happens. So we would like to now change development models, right? We change development agencies. We will now like to change development institutions, development projects, the entire planning, monitoring, evaluation system. There. This is what we are trying to do now. I think against this backdrop, what is happening in the Northeast is very interesting things. It used to be absolutely a no-go situation. If Asian Development Bank would like to go and do something, World Bank would like to go do something, Japan's JICA would like to go do something, no, you can't go. Today, anyone can go to Northeast and do the business. World Bank, Asian Development Bank, JICA, even AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Banks, it has reached Northeast. So this has brought absolutely a different momentum, right? The other important thing which has happened is four-way connectivity projects. It was very difficult for me to go to Guwahati, then go to Manipur, or from Manipur to cut across to Nagaland, and then to cut across to Arunachal Pradesh. No, today no. So the four-way connectivity is greatly done in the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years. That is, four-way means first connectivity within a state, say Assam or Manipur. It's a beautiful connectivity. Village is connected with district is connected with state capital. Yet to be done quite a few things, but it has started happening. Second is connectivity between two states, Assam and Meghalaya, Manipur and Nagaland, or Tripura and Nagaland, right? So between two states. Third is Northeast as a whole and the rest of India. I don't say mainland India, the rest of India, right? That means you can easily drive from Patna to Imphal, right? So, and the fourth is Northeast and the neighboring states, neighboring countries. So it's say between Northeast and Bhutan, Northeast and Myanmar, Northeast and Bangladesh. It's a very, very interesting situations as far as the entire corridor making four-way connectivity is concerned. The very interesting thing in this connectivity project is, for the first time, you are really trying to connect. So, for example, we opened in Sikkim the Nathula trade route. For last, immediately after the 1962 war, the entire interactions between Tibet, a huge geography, and Sikkim and Darjeeling, Kalimpong, you were disconnected. We had our India's consulate office in Lhasa, in Tibet. And Tibet traders and the traders on this side from Israel to Japan to US, they used to gather in a place known as Kalimpong and used to trade. Gone. So in 2000, we all said, no, this trade route has to be reopened. And when we were trying to reopen this trade route, because this is not only history, this is not only culture, This is of strategic value to us. Many people in the senior officials would tell us, hey, don't touch that because refugees will come from that side. Because Chinese goods would be coming from that side. So don't touch that in Sikkim. And we used to make an argument, hey, we are a nuclear country. Why do you bother about few Tibetan refugees? Or why do you bother about 10 truck full of smuggled goods? Look at the sea routes. Thousands and thousands of trucks come through the sea routes only. Then we reopened it. But today, well, I'm telling you, when we reopened it, one of our objectives, we had twofold objectives in doing this. And I have no hesitation in saying this because I was the team leader to write this report to reopen this Nathula trade route. And as a student, right, and as a field worker, I used to always feel that whenever I used to go to China, I used to see in their maps, Nepal, Bhutan, and Sikkim together. These are the three countries in the southwestern China, adjoining southwestern China. Nepal is an independent country, sovereign country. Bhutan is so. But Sikkim is a part of India since 1975. It was very embarrassing. For us, nothing happens because Sikkim is a part of India only. But in their maps, it was embarrassing. So we thought that the moment this trade route is reopened, passports, Chinese passport holders and Indian passport holders would cross the border. And that's what it happened. They removed Sikkim as a kind of what they did. The second is, if you would like to go to a very sensitive geography like Tibet, right? The easiest way to go to Tibet is through Sikkim. And that's what happened. The Chogyals, the kings of Sikkim, married the queens from that side of the border those days, right? And so we thought that this would happen. So before opening this route, there used to be eyeball to eyeball contacts between the Chinese army and the Indian army. If you blink your eyes, I'll shoot you. That was the situation then, before the opening of the eyes of this road. Today, the Chinese and the Indian army, they play volleyball. The border became from a soft, hard border, it became a soft border. They play volleyball. And in China, you sell calculators and watches in kilograms. How many kilograms of watches you want or calculate? They manufacture it in such a wild manner. They sell in kilograms. And they give our soldiers ghadi, right? And our soldiers, our people on this side of the border are very happy. Oh, we have now watches. And what do we give to the Chinese that side? The cheapest thing which Chinese would really enjoy is bidi. So it is a hard border converted into a soft border, and it's a beautiful depiction of ghadi and bidi exchange. This is what happens when you make a border. And this concept now is, we are trying to spread this concept. Do a borderland hospital. 40% of the Bangladeshis coming to India legally would come for medical purposes. They will go to Calcutta, they will go to Madras, they will go to Mumbai for this. So we say, why should you go all the way to Calcutta to do treatment? We will make a borderland hospital somewhere in Dauki, between Shillong, between Meghalaya and Bangladesh. You come, do the treatment and go back. This side is no go. Inside you can do treatment and go back. So this is another concept which you are trying to say, borderland universities, borderland hospitals, frontier economic zones, because these are innovatives, because this has been done in the Scandinavian countries, in the European Union, it has been done. And this is well practiced there. So we are trying to bring that issues, such kind of practices here also. So the entire so make economic corridor. What we are saying is, you make your economic corridor. If you go to Tamil and More border, now it is closed, right? Government of India declared that we will have you can come without visa this side, the Myanmaris, and the Indians will go that side, stay there, come back, right? You don't require, it is a visa-free zone. But we suddenly realized that there have been some misuse of this and it became a conflict zone. So what we are saying now is, for micro level exchanges, you make a corridor, and for a macro level exchanges between India and Myanmar, you make another corridor, that is securitized economic corridor, right? Because in the micro level exchanges, if there is some incident, the entire border is closed. The entire investment, trade, and exchange of pilgrims are affected. So you make a macro level corridor outside the main, what you call, border point. Therefore, what we are trying to say is, we will now change the entire concept of interventions in the Northeast region, right? Universities are doing very well, and all the programs, what we are doing very well, it's doing well. We want Northeast to be the power pool of India. On that side of the border, Myanmar is dark. If you go a little beyond, Cambodia requires electricity. Bangladesh requires electricity. And we have already done that. Again, 30 years back, when you used to say that India should trade electricity with Bangladesh, my friends in the ministry would tell me, hey, don't touch that. That is national security-wise very sensitive, right? Because all the transmission lines have to move through Chicken Neck Corridor, and that will be dangerous for the country. Today, you have a national grid to national grid integrations between India and Bangladesh. You produce electricity here, send it to Bangladesh. That's what the Adanis have done. That's what. You bring electricity from Bhutan, from Nepal, from Northeast, send it to what you call it, Myanmar, to Laos, to Cambodia, to Singapore, right? And we would like to make a power pool in the Northeast, like the Southern African power pool or the North power pool, such kind of concepts. Bring electricity from all over to the Northeast, including from Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, and Meghalaya, and pull them together, and wherever there is demand, you send them across. So such kind of things are, this is what we are trying to do. Now, the last point I would like to say is, you have to really change your thinking. For China, some of us who have studied in China in the last many years, the Chinese kept on changing their strategies. After the end of the Cultural Revolution, when Deng Xiaoping took over, the first thing Chinese did was a practice of imitation. So if you have gone to China in 1980s and 1990s, you get everything well imitated. You can't distinguish between this is a Japanese product or this is a Chinese product. It was a country of imitation. Everything. You name anything in the world, you'll find duplicates in China. And in 20s and 30s, 2010, 2020, today, right? China is a country of innovations. Yeah, they would innovate. Americans are afraid of it. The British are afraid of it because they innovate their things. And what they plan to do in 40s and 50s, China would be a country of invention, right? So you move from imitations to innovations and invention. And if China starts doing invention, what would happen? Exactly, they followed the similar pattern as far as geographies are concerned. I give you one example. All the Chinese development process happen in eastern China, that is in the ocean belt, the Fuji to Fujian to Shanghai to Tianjin to Beijing to anything. You go there. 60% of their exports, 70% of their exports would come from that region, right? 80% of their GDP would come from that. The per capita income in this geography is so high, but no. So they changed their strategy. Okay, we have developed the West, now, sorry, East, now we will go to the West. And West, you have states like, provinces like Tibet, Chennai, then Yunnan and all this. So they moved to that in 2000, 2002. Look at today. Look at today. Go to Yunnan today. Go to Lhasa today, Tibet today. Right? I gone through that route when I was going to, when I was going through, going for the study to be for the Nathula trade, and just recently also we went there with my students. We went to Kailas Mansarovar and saw the development process there. So you have to change the development process. So we have been telling Government of India that Northeast should be declared as a new growth pole of India. And if that happens, this is going to be one of the fantastic geographies of India, right? And this is where the question of peace dividend comes. Northeast is fairly stable today, except some pockets. If you see the data of killings of the insurgents and all, it has gone down drastically, right? Over the years, particularly in the last 15 years, right? And you can see the peace dividends. You would be surprised to know that Sikkim has the highest per capita income in the country today. We are far, far ahead of Goa, Punjab, Haryana, Karnataka. Our per capita income is almost 7,50,000 rupees, right? Whereas you have laggards like Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh. So these are the peace dividends. If you have peace, if you have stability, this is the way forward. So towards the end, I would only like to say is the roles to be played by the universities and a college like yours is to engage yourselves in these national debates about who will lead for what. And today we are seeing that Northeast geography, Northeast region would be able to lead, right? It would be able to lead in Prime Minister's project of Actist policy. It would be able to lead in the Prime Minister's project of Neighborhood First. And it would be able to lead in the entire context of bringing a new regionalism of sub-regionalism process. If you open Phulbari corridor in Darjeeling district, 10 kilometers from Siliguri, that would go to Bangladesh and that would go to Northeast. So then our burden on chicken neck would be drastically reduced because Nepalese, Bhutanese, Bangladeshis, Indians can move through that corridor and move to Northeast, and from Northeast they can move to Southeast Asian countries. So these are the broader phenomenon or broader outlook with which we will have to now work. So the challenge is, would you like to be a snail, right? You have seen a snail in the hills. The snails is a syndrome. It moves little bit. The moment it smells some foreign elements, it withdraws and keeps quiet for this. Would you like to have a snail cell syndrome, or you'd like to have a rocket syndrome. Move, reach your journey, and do whatever you would like to do. So it's a big challenge. So I thank you once again for your patience, and thank you very much to the principals. Thank you.